comment about Dida's suit. Do you think that all the presidential candidates should be on the same podium?
Betty, thank you very much. One thing that I would want to say is that all presidential candidates should be and must be on the same platform. The moment you say that the first two or the last three, that in itself, because a presidential debate is not for the organizers. It is not an advertiser's feature where you say now, this is my private choice, I have to decide who to come into my show. This is a very, very important national exercise because the presidential debate is to give Kenyans an opportunity to choose among these candidates who really have the best interest of this nation going forward in terms of the elections. So the moment you say that now you, Abdoba Deda and so, you wait, you come at night, or Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga, you come in the morning. That in itself is discrimination. So as a lawyer, and from where I sit, I must say that Abdoba Deda, I don't want to cast aspersion on the case that is before the court because it is active under litigation. I do not want to make comments about the outcome. But I think it is only fair that the presidential candidates be given the same platform at the same time.
But looking at everything practically and realistically speaking, you have these two candidates who everybody is talking about, and really they are really at the top of this race. People want to hear what these two have to say about everything. Philip, what is your analysis?
First of all, I think, Charles, thank you very much for joining us. One, I will not support the idea of anybody being discriminated. And they've cited Article 27. People need to be given an equal chance. And from where I sit and how I understand, they have been given a fair chance. The idea is you being heard. And I don't think the media houses have locked out anybody. They've only said we are going to segment. We'll have these people debating at this time so that we have efficiency, so that the debate becomes meaningful. And there's a lot debating at a different time. I think the point should be whether they have been given a hearing. And you are right to say they need to be heard. So and what I'm getting from the media houses is that they will be heard.
They will be heard.
The other thing is that I think we also need to get a bit serious as Kenyans. There are people who want to piggy ride. Of course, you have submitted your papers. You want to run for a presidential campaign, but you have locked yourself in the house, and you only want to piggy ride on areas that you think you can take capital. How come some of these presidential candidates are not out there campaigning? They are only waiting for debate. They want to take an easy route to sell or propagate their policies. I think they need to do more if they are serious, if indeed they're serious, but I don't think they are. Now, and finally, on this particular issue, I think anything that we do needs certain guidelines. If you operate without guidelines, then the quality of this debate will be watered down, and I don't think we shall be able to even be able to appreciate any of the candidates. There are other platforms other than that 1 day or 2 hours debate. Let them ask for space. Let them go out in parazas. Let them sell their agendas, but let them not just piggy ride on situations like this particular one.
Charles, I'd like to hear your reaction to what he says, that you're not seeing Abdoba Deda telling us, that I'm heading to this place, come cover my campaign trail, even at the other candidates.
It is very interesting, the perspective of my brother Philip here. But one thing that I want to say is that how difficult was it that they then pair Abdoba Deda and His Excellency the President, if it is about opportunity of being heard. More importantly, if one is saying that these are the top two candidates, then Kenyans want to hear them. Is it difficult if Dr. Kura Aukot is paired with Honorable Raila Odinga? No, there is nothing as difficult as that. Therefore, one thing that I want to say as my comment into that is that presidential debate is not really about who are the two top candidates. The very essence of presidential debate is to give these people an opportunity to face Kenyans, and this is not really a platform for campaign. Because when these people were tendering their papers to be considered as presidential candidates, they were not waiting for presidential debate to campaign. So it would be very unfair to them and us here to say that they don't want to campaign, they are only waiting for presidential debate to pig ride. Okay. That would be a very, very bad comment. But either way, let us wait for the court's decision on Friday.
And as we wait for that, one of the guidelines, like Kisia was saying, is that they needed to have at least 5% popularity in a poll that is going to be conducted. Do you think that's a fair way to look at it? At least if you 5% really, and you're talking about going against a candidate who has 43% and 48%, is that a fair guideline for the other candidates?
One thing that makes me a little bit upset sometimes is that Kenyans think that as long as you've been not invited to the party, then you are being discriminated against. Discrimination is a technical term. It is not inclusion for everybody into everything that is happening. There are times and opportunities when you will be told, you know what, you're not good enough for this particular space. And this is one of those opportunities. Because think about it, the Media Council is organizing this, yes, for the benefit of Kenyans to hear what the candidates have to say, but it's costing them something, and how they pay for this is in advertising. Now, if you say you're going to have all the candidates standing there, the 6 of them, and then Honorable Raila writes and says, you know what, I'm not going to come and stand there for 3 hours debating everybody. There's only one person I'm interested in debating, and he exempts himself. Or President Uhuru says, you know what, I have been having a grueling schedule, and I'm not going to put up with this for another 1 hour. I'm not interested, I'm not coming. Then the advertising goes down, and then they cannot pay for this anymore. Look at what happened in the UK. When Theresa May refused to have a debate with Jeremy Corbyn, they had to change the way they did the debate and had the candidates come in one at a time. One at a time. So it's not one of those things that is a legal requirement. It's actually a favor that the Media Council is doing to Kenyans. And it's one of those things that it's like a hotel. The management reserves the right of admission. If they've said, we'll have one debate for those who have this threshold, and we'll have another debate for those who have this threshold, it's up to them to decide, because they're picking the bill. If Abdul Badida was paying to attend a debate, then he would have the right to say, no, this is not what I signed up for. But this is something that somebody is doing out of courtesy. So I do not understand why he thinks it is discrimination. No, there's a certain threshold that have been set. And let's face it, for some of them, this is the only national campaign platform that they have. They have not used the money and the time that we have seen the others using in going round.
All right.
So I agree, it's a piggyback right they're looking for.
Okay, so we wait for Friday to see what the court is going to rule on that. But something else that's happening, and I'm happy that we have Philip Kisia here, is that Mike Sonko is set to unveil sort of like his manifesto. He didn't want to call it manifesto, but it's like the solutions that he has for Nairobi residents. I don't know if you were able to watch the debate that we had on Monday, and what you think about the candidates and their grasp of the issues that affect Nairobians. Did you feel like indeed these candidates and the incumbent really understand the issues that affect Nairobi residents and even had solutions, to the problems? Because what many Kenyans left with was, the abuses and the insults and the back and forth between all the candidates. I'll start with you, Kisia.
Yeah, thank you. Now, first of all, I must say that the media is doing a great job in giving these people opportunity to debate and present their ideas to Kenyans. But I must say that I was very disappointed. I watched that so-called debate for about 20, 30 minutes, and I switched back to cartoons. I started watching cartoons with my babies. Because other than the abuses that people are howling, during prime media time, there's very little content that came out. What are the challenges that are facing Nairobi? The first one is the issue of public transport. It's chaotic. So I didn't hear most of them talk about how they intend to sort out the chaos in public transport. The other challenge that we are facing, of course, is the issue of solid waste. How do you intend to deal decisively with the issue of solid waste. The third thing is housing, sanitation, and water. How do you intend to go about it? Of course, then we have the issue of employment. How do you intend to attract local and international investors so that we can create jobs for our people? And finally, how do you intend to raise resources, and in this particular case, money, to fund your program? But I must say that out of the candidates who presented, who debated, one guy came out very, very strongly. You know, to serve people, first of all, you must have passion. Okay? Are you passionate about what you intend to do? Forget about all those other issues that we are talking about. Are they sincere? Or they have other agendas that have brought them to vie for that particular office? So because if you don't have a passion for this particular job, and I heard some of them, like my good brother Evans talk about passionate. He was born in Nairobi, and you remember I was the town clerk and chief executive officer of Nairobi. And I can tell you, I checked the records. He was not born in Nairobi. He could have been born elsewhere in Kenya. So the question that comes out is, you know, the issue of integrity. Does he have integrity? If he can lie at that very low level, that I was born here, when you know you're not born here. Then he says he was born in Majengo. You ask him where, he says house number 49. And those of us who were born in Nairobi, you know, houses in Majengo or Pumwani do not have numbers. You say, mimi nakaa karibu na pale kwa Mama Salim, ama kwa kina Juma. There are no, so, you know, I could see a lot of fakeness. So
you said that there was one candidate who stood out
yeah,
for
so
you. Who is that?
Sonko came out as a person who is honest. This is who I am. I'm passionate. I may have certain deficiencies, but I have a deputy who will help me deliver. All the other fellows had nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Joy, what do you think of that debate?
Like Philip, the first time I tried to watch it, I gave up. But then I had to watch it again on YouTube when I was a little bit more relaxed. And one thing that I am grateful for is that Kenyans have gotten to a place where they're willing to interrogate those people who are offering themselves for leadership. And I was looking at the candidates, and I wished that the way the debate was structured, more of the content would have come out, rather than opportunity to throw stones and some claims that are not substantiated, because we had a lot of all that innuendo, and it was not helpful at all. Now, it was easy to see, for example, that Senator Sonko had deficiencies that the others did not have. He had a weakness. And I think even Peter Kenneth alluded to the fact that, oh, you guys have to be two halves to make the whole. But for me, that was a strength. If you say that you need the two halves to make a whole, it's a strength, because it means you have a governor who has to rely on others. But unfortunately, the way it's been set up is the role of the deputy governor is nondescript. He doesn't have a lot of power, unless if the governor chooses to sideline the deputy governor, they can very well be a sitting duck. So it leaves something to be desired in terms of efficiency. Now, on the other hand, somebody like Miguna has plenty of brains, you can see, and he has thought about this. I mean, he was ready for that debate from time immemorial.
He's been preparing.
He was waiting for that day. Unfortunately, because of his personality and his temperament, he was not able to articulate what he really had for Nairobians. So unless you go back to his website and read what is written there, you're not going to get anything out.
But he said he's the only one who had a manifesto
which is true, and which is why Sonko now is trying to remedy that today. And I'm glad Sonko is not calling it a manifesto, because if you look at it and decide you're going to critique it as a manifesto, you may find it falls short. But if it says, look, this is the plan that I have for you, does it make sense to you? You may find that it's big enough, because look at Kenyans today. Our politics is basically, what are we going to eat? Our politics is, are we going to have a job? Our politics is, are we going to have some prosperity? Are we going to have some peace? People, that's what they're basically interested in, not some grand ideas or some pie in the sky. So if you're able to communicate to the Mwananchi on that level, you find you have a distinct advantage.
All right.
Now, Dr. Kidero, I agree with Philip, because I grew up in Shaurimoyo, and I know what plot number, we had plot numbers in Shaurimoyo. But I agree. If you've grown up in the ghetto, you understand the dynamics there. And sometimes you look, but I think he did grow up in Majengo, if I'm not wrong, because my father says, yes, they used to go to Heshima Road together at some point. But the problem is where we are today. We are not where we were then, because the Sharimoya that was there then is not what is there now. The dynamics have changed. People are a lot more. We need to have modern-day solutions to what is happening now. And Governor Kidero had 4 years to do something, and he missed the boat by far.
All right. Charles, what did you think of, we're avoiding one person, that's Peter Kenneth. Many times he found himself having to explain, you know, if he did things and if he did do certain things. What did you think of his performance and his grasp of issues to do with Nairobi?
Thank you much, Betty. I think I'm the only person who was very patient enough to watch the debate to the fullness.
The first time.
Yeah. I watched the debate throughout until its conclusion. But one or two striking issues. First of all, let us not go into the innuendos and the name-calling that was witnessed, because actually as a society, that is how we've nurtured our politics to be the one for you to outdo your opponent. You must call him names, you throw every mud at him, which is not really what we should expect as Kenyans at this century. But going back to the debate, I think Peter Kenneth tried to actually portray himself as somebody who really understands what Nairobi needs. That aside, Miguna, with all very due respect, I think for political leadership or anyone who wants to run for the office, you see NASA launch its manifesto the other day, and even the Jubilee Coalition launching its manifesto. I think manifesto is a statement of intent, and therefore it is very, very important for any leader, for example, running for a high office like an office of the governor or presidency, you must have a manifesto. The reason why people always avoid manifestos is because people will take you to number 3. You said here you will do this. You've not delivered this, and therefore we are not going to give you another opportunity. You've lied. So if you realize there is leaders that do not want to bring a manifesto, it means they don't want to be held accountable, because the intentions they have must be manifested in a document, so that when you are criticizing and trying to take stock of your leadership, then we can refer you to that very document. Right. That is why we have the Constitution. But as regards to whoever won the debate or who really tried to woo the hearts of the Nairobians, we all know the challenges that we are facing. And actually, people like Philip here, being at one time a CEO of this very important county, he would have told us that when I was a town clerk, these are the things that we were thinking how best to make Nairobi. These problems he is saying that Kidero have not achieved. As town clerk, these are the grand plans. On the issue of traffic congestion, these were what we had planned or we had envisioned as a Nairobi City County. In terms of waste management, because waste management has not started yesterday, we've been having challenges with the garbage collection, but at least at that time of City Council, they at least tried to do something, but it has been a problem from that very beginning. Right. Therefore, to me, where I say it, I would also laud Sonko because he's very strategic. He kept on referring to his electorate, that the people in Kibera slums, the people in Mkuru Kwanjenga, people at Korogochi who cannot afford these services, those are the people that I'm concerned about. Okay. And that is why I've always been having a debate and sharing with my colleagues that the entry of Peter Kenneth has not really affected Sonko support base, because you realize those who support Peter Kenneth and Kidero are those who call themselves the middle class. So the person whose vote basket has been substantially and fundamentally affected is Governor Evans Kidero. Right. Because the middle class will say, okay, between this manager and this manager, let us now try this. All right. So that is how Sonko managed to score in that debate.
Okay. Thank you, Charles. But you know, I was not here to discuss what my achievements were or failures were. We were here to debate, given the guidelines that we've been given today. But since you brought up that issue, I was the Chief Executive Officer and Town Clerk, and the last one for that matter, in the city of Nairobi, and I was only there for 36 months. I laid a solid foundation. I'll just pinpoint some of the things that I did. In terms of solid waste, with the assistance of JICA, we presented and prepared a solid strategy. We did a business plan for solid waste management in this country. We're just about to take off. In two parts. One, to close down Dandora in a period of about 6 to 7 years, close it down completely, and create a landfill in Rai. So that is where I left it. In terms of the internal reforms that I undertook, you remember for the first time, the city of Nairobi carried out a comprehensive human resource review. And there are certain issues that were tackled. I left a report for implementation for the next person who came in. The other thing, in terms of finance, a few things that we were able to do in 36 months. By the time I took office, the last time the accounts were audited was 2002. By the time I was leaving, I had audited the accounts and done management accounts for 2011, 2012. We had also been able to look at our debtors and our creditors. We even came up with the asset list that the county didn't have. We, in collaboration with CASA, we came up with what we call the integrity testing program to fight corruption. Therefore, I started instituting systems, building systems, right. Because I'm an institution does not run with people. An institution runs with systems. Finally,
yes. As
two
we
things.
Wind up, yes.
As I wind up. The issue of housing. That is the project that Kidero is running away with. Yeah? I am the one who got a cabinet approval after doing due diligence, preparing documents, preparing a strategy paper to create a new city in Eastlands. ICT, what now they're calling e-payment, Jumbo Pay, that is my brainchild. Those are some of the few things that I was able to do in 36 months.
All right, Philip. So we want to wind up, but I want to hear from the panel. What is that thing that the Nairobi residents should be looking at? Because after the debate, there was a section of Nairobians who said they were more confused on who to vote for than even before. What is that thing, especially having been inside, the county working system? What is that thing that a Nairobian should look out for this election?
Well, in a nutshell, I think the Nairobians should look at somebody with a clear vision, okay? Mine has a clear vision, you can forget. But above having a clear vision, you need a sincere and honest person. This is who I am, this is what I intend to do. Like my brother said, having a manifesto, a statement of intent. Of course, look at the track record. Yeah. Just saying that I manage the CDF. CDF is a very small component compared to a county like Nairobi. The experience that you have, what team do you have behind you? Have you really managed an enterprise, a big one? Not just a law firm, a serious enterprise. And of course, are you ready to defend the citizens of this county?
All right. Well put.
One thing we must appreciate is that most of the citizens of Nairobi do not live in the formal established estates. Yeah. Many of them live in informal sectors. And they put up with a lack of resources and a lack of facilities that is appalling. And for Nairobi residents, one thing we need to look forward to is a governor, like Philip says, who has a vision for the people, the common mwananchi. Because if you look at those of us who are in estates, quote unquote, Kura paves our roads, we have street lights in the estates, we've got some form of security arrangements. But if you've grown up in the slums, if you've lived in the slums, if you're living in the ghetto right now, everything is up in the air. You don't know if when you get out of the door, if you're coming back again in the evening. Look at this unga crisis. Those of us who could not find unga, we just went on and bought rice. But there are some people who, if you're not finding unga in the portion mill, it was crisis for your family. So I think it is time. Nairobi is not just another county. It is the heart of this nation. It's the capital of this nation. And we need to have a governor who will be able to address the needs of the majority of Nairobians, but at the same time be able to project the international image that Nairobi is. Because if you're going to have all this IGAD coming to Nairobi and the UN and the WHO, you need a governor who's able to project that part of Nairobi as an international hub. So let us examine all the candidates in light of these facets so that we can have a good way moving forward, a holistic approach moving forward.
All right.
I think, Betty, since all of my colleagues here have said that Nairobi needs a leader who has a vision, and more importantly, is very passionate about what he wants to do. If that is what is required, which I equally believe is what is required, then Miguna is the best candidate for Nairobi, because he has demonstrated passion, he has a vision, and he has decided that all this that I want to do, you put me to account on this. Therefore, going forward, I think the Nairobi residents, and we have a very educated populace right now that would be able to interrogate what these leaders want to offer for them, what they stand for, and more importantly, their track record, which is very important. And we have agencies that we really want to encourage, that let us not have these issues of trying to interrogate the integrity issues of our leaders as a mere PR exercise. Let us get serious on the job and ensure that, because the Constitution, even if you are suspected, Betty, not that you've been convicted,
Yes.
so long as that you are being in an office, responsibility of leadership, so long as you are being in that office does not bring honor to the nation, does not bring dignity to the officer holds. By any stretch of imagination that you might have participated or presided over a corrupt incident, then you are not supposed to be allowed to run for the office.
Right.
Therefore, as I have my closing remarks, is that let us continue engaging. It is only less than 34 days remaining to the general election. And I believe that these are people that they are either our brothers and we live with them in our society. We will be able to continue engaging them, continue interrogating whether it is papers that they want to present for solutions, whether they are manifestos. Kenyans are, and more importantly, Nairobians are going to have that opportunity to interrogate and ensure that these people, the person that would be elected as the next governor on the 8th of August, is that have the interest of the people that he leads at heart, and not that he is going to be a ruler, but a leader. Servant leadership is the mother's milk for a sustainable development, and that is what we have.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Charles Omanga at my far right. He's a lawyer and a political analyst. Brenda Mdivo, she's also a lawyer and a political analyst, and Philip Kisia, the former Nairobi town clerk and CEO. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. All right, so we'll take a break right now, and we'll be coming back at the top of the hour for our second hour here on the show. And we're still following what's happening on the campaign trail. Remember that my colleagues Duncan Hayemba and Jeff Curry are on the